Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Krista White, and I'm joined today by some top Microsoft MVPs and experts. We have a great webinar planned for you. It's called 365 Shades of Success, a Microsoft Year in Review and the Road to 2024. Some really exciting things to go over today. I know it's been a big year for Microsoft announcements and developments, but before we get too far into it, just a couple housekeeping things I'd like to go over. First of all, yes, this will be recorded. I see some of the questions coming in already. Yes, this will be recorded. So we'll be uploading this to our YouTube channel as well as our website, crowcanyon.com. And if you've registered, if you're here live with us today, we will be sending you the recording as well. Also, this will be more of a high-level overview. As you can imagine, it's been a big year. There's a lot of details we could really dive into. But if you would like to have a more in-depth conversation, just reach out to us afterwards or shoot us an email at hello@crowcanyon.com, and we'll be happy to answer your questions and go a little bit deeper with you. And lastly, we would love to get your questions. So we don't just want to talk at you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you need, what you're wondering about. We're here for you. I know there's a lot going on, and so we'd love to be able to support you today in getting those questions answered. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it.
Let's dive into it. All right. So my name is Jeff Willinger. Thanks everyone for joining today. So we're gonna start out with some introductions and then some announcements that took place basically this year and some exciting things with each different pillar within the M365 suite. And then we are going to do my favorite portion is some predictions. And throughout, we're gonna have some questions and answers. So throughout, if you have any questions, just pop in the chat and Krista will jump in and ask us the question. Any questions?
And a little bit about Crow Canyon. So we're sponsoring today's event. So just to explain who we are and why we're here is we've been in the M365 world for over 25 years now, and our specialty is empowering organizations to achieve your fullest potential in the M365 Teams and SharePoint environment. There are, as we all know, there are a whole lot of bells and whistles in that environment, and very few people do actually use it to the max. So we're here to help with that. And we've really been excited. I know personally, I'm thrilled to hear about all the new AI announcements this year. Copilot, there's so much going on. And I think so many of us are curious as to, okay, now what do we do with this? This sounds great, but how do you put it into action? And that's one of the things we've been leaning heavily into. We call it IBPA. So BPA is business process automation. That's what we do. And combining that with AI gives us intelligent business process automation. And we're using that in things like Nitro KD Copilot, forms generation, auto-generated emails, all sorts of things. It's really infused into many of our applications. And applications like help desk, purchasing, asset management, many others as well. Essentially, our role is to help make these processes easier, leveraging the M365 environment. So I'm really excited to hear what all the our MVPs have for us today. A lot of fun things going on. My name, again, is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon Software. Native Washingtonian and big people person, big animal lover. And I've been in the M365 environment, leveraging it for about 15 years now in both the B2B and B2C environments. And I love helping people succeed. So I'm really excited to be here today and hear about all the new opportunities that we have to leverage new announcements, leverage the things coming ahead in 2024, and make the most out of our environments. So excited to hear what everyone has.
Thanks, Krista. Really great information. And Crow Canyon is one of those companies that if you never heard of them, definitely check it out. But they've got a great product lineup. And I think that the entire team has done a great job of staying on top of Copilot and all the nuances that are coming down the pipe with M365.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure. So thanks again to Crow Canyon for sponsoring today. Native New Yorker, Chicagoan, now I'm in Southern California. I definitely do play pickleball in between meetings. I did not have time today as there has been no in-between meetings. I've been in the ecosystem for many, many years, built close to 1,000 intranets using SharePoint. Now all the different goodies that Jeff Tepper and the team have put together for us in our briefcases, so to speak, that we could show to clients. So I've been in the consulting world for a long time, and my job at the end of the day is to create these cultures of collaboration. I put employees into 3 buckets, and you could probably relate in your organizations. Those early adopters, all of the folks that are on the webinar with us today. Then you've got that third, they're never ever going to go, and it breaks my heart. Then you've got that third that I call them the fence sitters. How do we get them over to critical mass and really become an engaged and involved worker? We're going to talk about a lot of the tools that Microsoft has got to assist us with that. With me today, over to you, Ryan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Schouten. I'm the CEO of Mahai Consulting and a partner at technical architect at Emperor Media Group. Father of 4, technology developer, enthusiast, all sorts of fun stuff. I've been in the Microsoft ecosystem for 22 years now. Started out with SharePoint in the back end, just seeing how, as a developer, and seeing how things have changed. So happy to be here and join with the other parts of our team that are here based in Southern California, or I guess in California.
Over to you, Galen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Galen Keene. I'm the CEO of Lion Tech. We are a professional services company in Southern California. We focus primarily on the Microsoft stack, but we work across the spectrum of collaboration technologies, business process automation. So we've leveraged a lot of Companion software in our past. And I love being out on the West Coast and enjoying the ocean. So you'll find me tide pulling with my family, kayaking with my son, sailing as much as possible. We try to put all of our proximity to the ocean to good use. And I've been in technology for over 20 years. My passion really is bringing people, communications, and data together. I love teaching and sharing knowledge to empower people to accomplish more and deliver value to their communities and their organizations. So please join us in the SoCal communities. You'll find, I think, all of us there. We like to take a big emphasis, especially as AI and all the Copilots come on board with security and compliance best practices. So we look forward to this webinar and future conversations.
Thanks, Galen. Over to you, Krista, for our poll, our first and only poll today.
That's right. So we wanted to just touch base with you all and find out what M365 initiatives you're planning in the upcoming year. We have a poll coming out. You should all see that now. If you would mind just answering here. Are you focusing on employee experience, info protection, improved communications, process automation, employee learning and training? There are so many things that obviously we can be focusing on, but we want to make sure to tailor our conversation for you today as well and focus where you'd like to focus. So I see the answers are coming in. We've got a few options neck and neck here.
Let's hope it's an employee experience,
Yeah. Just as you said that, I saw some votes coming in for employee experience. That's funny.
Watch my screen, I can't vote.
Yeah, looks like right now we've got process automation taking the lead and employee learning and training in number 2, info protection number 3, improved communications and employee experience tied.
You know, I was on a call this morning with a client very interested in business process automation, which is also near and dear to my heart, running our Power Platform practice here with them. So great. And Chris, can you publish this? Because I can't see it, or would you have to? I can't see the poll. Is it because I'm presenting?
I'll share. Here we are. Can you see that now?
No. Hide poll results to enable screen sharing.
I can see it pulled up. So we got a 10% for employee experience, 19% for information protection, 19% for improved communications, 33% for process automation, and 19% for employee learning and training.
All right, great. Very interesting. So we're going to talk about some things that are here, some things that are coming down the pipeline. One thing that obviously the one theme having attended Ignite was really AI is everywhere, and the Copilot brand is literally added to almost every single workload. And as I said here, some are paid and some are included. Bing Chat Enterprise is now Copilot for the web. I'm sure if anyone uses Edge, Microsoft Edge, you see that Bing Chat is right there. And you see when you ask a question, you see the little Bing Chat icon come up. And then Power Virtual Agent, near and dear to my heart, is now part of Copilot Studio. I sort of like that Copilot Studio a little bit better than Power Virtual Agent.
Got a nice ring to it.
Yeah. And then obviously the shortage of GPU, Microsoft is building their own AI chips. No surprise there. During Satya's state of the, I almost said state of the firm, basically state of the firm pretty much for Microsoft. During his keynote, he talked a lot about that because I'm not a developer, but I think about where is all this stuff going to be stored and how is it going to basically, when you ask a question, you don't want to wait 10 minutes and come back. You want your answer right there. So, of course, Microsoft always ahead of the curve. Some other things to look forward to that are here and some available now, some available coming up. Teams Premium, and we're going to do a deeper dive into each one of these. SharePoint Premium, new in November. Power Apps Premium, which was introduced in August. Same thing with Power Automate Premium. I see a theme here with Premium. Power BI, Planner Premium. We're gonna do a deeper dive into each one of these throughout the presentation today.
So Jeff, is it safe to say then that Premium is the new modern?
Gotta tell you, I knew it was replacing something, but I wasn't positive. But I think that you hit it on the head. Yeah, I don't see I mean, there's still modern work specialists that I deal with on a regular basis for Microsoft, but you're right there.
We're going to have premium workspace place specialists. All right.
Now, I'm curious if anyone that's on the webinar right now was actually at Ignite and actually saw me at the attendee party up on stage singing. And no, I did not add a clip today. I was just curious if anyone was. Post your name in the chat. I would love to say hey.
My first question is, where's the video?
That's another time. That's another time.
No video, it didn't happen, Jeff.
Right.
Exactly. So now we are going to do a deeper dive into some things that have taken place over the past year and some things that we're going to look forward to. This picture was actually generated with DALL-E by one of my colleagues, and I love this. We said we want to do a deeper dive into Microsoft, and boom, there it is. Kind of cool.
Yeah, so you kind of hit it off with Microsoft taking a deeper dive into their own compute processing, Jeff, when you mentioned that Microsoft was going to begin to manufacture their own chips. This is a really cool announcement. I think Microsoft is making a lot of inroads into optimizing their data centers, and a lot of these chips are meant to extend AI capabilities and processing power. It still has a very strong partnership with NVIDIA that is just expanding, right? If for those of you that did catch Ignite, there was quite a bit of talk with the executives about that partnership. I think some of the interesting things on the back end is that Azure is expanding, right? The tag of Azure being the world's computer is not an understatement in this case. And so you're seeing Microsoft make advancements in their silicon and providing these chips. You're going to see more advancements on the networking side. with regards to some of how they're connecting their data centers, as well as advancements in the quantum computing space. So there's a lot of underlying capabilities that Microsoft's bringing to bear to support all of the services and capabilities that we're going to talk about throughout this webinar. So pretty exciting stuff happening in Azure. And of course, it all is frontlined with Copilot moniker, right? So Copilot is there front and center, helping us that work on VMs and various services throughout Azure use prompts to monitor our environments and get assistance from the AI to support our day-to-day operations. Some really cool announcements though around Azure AI Studio. So for those of you doing development against LLMs or looking to have a central location with which you can plumb into the various services and build at scale frameworks that take into consideration all of the right governance rules, AI Studio kind of brings all of that together. So providing a lot of value there for those of you doing development in that space. They announced the Open AI service. So this is where you again can plumb into Open AI's technologies, GPT-4, 3.5 Turbo, and you can do that through the AI Studio. So pretty cool there. Some really interesting announcements around AI search capabilities. So where you're augmenting search with all of the AI capabilities to enhance that. I think that's going to have a huge impact on user experience. We were talking about employee experience. For those of you that are developing apps that are search-based, this is going to be huge. There's going to be a lot of capabilities to bring the LLMs into the foray to help your users find things faster, easier, and get those surfaced up in your apps. And last bullet on screen is vision, right? Being able to take all of the images and the videos and do cool things with those. Expanding on the previous slide where Jeff and team said, "Hey, show me something. Let's do a deep dive on Microsoft," and now think about how we can upload the recording of this webinar and then gain insights from it automatically with some AI assistance. So there's a lot of cool things that you'll be able to do with AI vision as well.
Yeah, I love that. And when I talk to clients, their number one pain point, I always think it's going to be, hey, we want to communicate better internally. That's top 3. But number 1 is always search. Search is always the biggest pain point, and the new AI search within M365 is going to be a game changer. And I know that they work with a number of different software companies that have been in the search business. So when I think of Microsoft, I always think of best in class, and it doesn't stop with search.
Yeah, search is one of those game changers, and a lot of organizations use it in a lot of different ways. Even Microsoft's out-of-the-box experiences are heavily reliant on search. So anything we can do to have AI improve those search results and be able to get us more towards what we're looking for, this is going to be some exciting stuff going on. Then vision, imagine the applications you can build that could go see and actually be able to interpret things. So
to security. This is huge. I think in the last 6 months, this is where personally I've seen the biggest uptick in projects associated with my clients and new clients. There's a ton of advancements around the security space. Of course, it's one of the things that we have to be top of mind of as we develop any type of solution. But specifically in this knowledge management space, I think that there's a lot of improvements that are now available and coming out within the next 6 months or so. Microsoft made a lot of announcements around Defender. And so there's a lot of integrations now between Defender and Sentinel. And in fact, when you combine those and you bring to bear a security co-pilot, there's so much that you get out of the box now from a security operations point of view. So your SecOps people can do more with fewer people. I think a lot of them are understaffed already. So now you can be alerted with threats from bad actors across a number of different threat vectors, right? And the system's now going to collate all of that into an incident and speak to you about that through the security co-pilot in a way that makes sense and allows for you to see all the various aspects of the threat and quickly dive into the incident and remedy the situation. A lot of the other areas that were pretty cool to see is what Microsoft is now doing with regards to AI and being able to see what AIs your employees are using. Maybe some are using Bard, maybe some are using ChatGPT, and you want to be able to see who's using what and potentially even block access to those. You can certainly do that now. So it's pretty cool. There's some really neat DLP improvements around enrolled devices. And I think a lot of where I've been focused is around this incident and alerting capability that's tied to information. So protecting information through sensitivity labels. It's been a huge space for me lately. And we've been doing a lot of work where we're helping people prepare for Copilot and AI by applying sensitivity labels to their data sets. And this is all now can be AI driven. So you get a lot of auto labeling capabilities out there. And that does help protect your data. All of these AIs will respect those sensitivity labels. So it's pretty cool to see Copilot taking into consideration the importance of the security you place on your data. And then insider risk, the last little bit here is that now you'll be able to plug in to Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, GitHub, and see usage indicators from those platforms as well. So a lot of what we've been enabling over the last 3 years is this remote working capability. Then it came to securing our data. We have a lot of advancements around that, especially with regards to AI. And now you can see that even in a remote working posture or environment, we're able to understand our data sets, secure them, and then monitor them as we move forward. It's pretty cool.
We have a couple great questions that came in. And I think, Galen, you touched on this a little bit, but how do I prepare my organization for AI and Copilot? You know, there's a lot going on right now. What's the best thing for people to do to kind of get ready?
We've hit on a couple of things, right? I think, what Jeff and Ryan were saying earlier is search, search, search. The number one thing that people always talk about is finding, discovering the data that they're looking for, or having the system tell them what they're looking for at the appropriate time. So all of the practices that we've worked with our clients and the processes that we've gone through to enable their search capabilities applies to managing their knowledge and preparation for AI. And I think that as a best practice, you should always be mindful of securing your data. And so for me, I place a large emphasis on information protection. And I think that it's, as stewards of our data, we need to ensure that we are protecting our honeypots. Some other cool announcements around that if you Google that. And look at sensitivity labels and how you protect your data so that as you adopt AI and you integrate that into your day-to-day operation, it's respecting how you secure your data.
I know one thing as well that really comes in as far as making sure you protect it, to tie into what you're saying, Galen, is if you think about it, when you're looking at search, you're looking at Copilot, if you do not have your information secured properly, either one of those is going to expose that very quickly. So say, for example, if you have your performance evaluations in your Microsoft 365 environment, if those are not secured, I can go out and do a Copilot search, say, okay, hey, well, go do a search on myself. And lo and behold, that performance valuation information is going to show up. And if I can see it, then maybe somebody else can see it. So one of those things is making sure you have those protections in place, so that way you're not exposing information that people should not be seeing.
That's a great point. And that actually ties in a little bit to this other question. People are wondering, how do you see AI impacting security operations in 2024? So I think that's a great point to kind of get ahead of the game with permissioning and some of those things that you touched on, Ryan.
I actually like to take even a further step back. What's our end goal here? Why are we doing this? Are we doing this just because it's the shiny new thing, which a lot of people, want to, but why are we doing this to begin with? So answering that question up front and having those guardrails that Galen and Ryan had mentioned, you don't want something over governed, but you definitely need the guardrails up.
Great
I
point.
find as well, just to dive into that question, Krista, is that with regards to security operations, for many of our companies, we have various compliance requirements. And in many cases, those compliance requirements are measured by audits. And in that audit trail, we have to show that we're executing or performing certain processes, right? And AI is going to help us perform those processes quickly and show that we're performing them, so that when we're audited, we can meet those compliance requirements and maintain whatever certification that we have. So I think there's the security operations component of it that gets made easier, and then there's the incident management component of it that is streamlined as well. So AI is going to help out quite a bit, especially in these groups that are short-staffed and still having to accomplish all of the goals with this workload.
Great, thanks. Boy, time is just flying. Let me just, for some reason, there we go.
Get me talking about security.
I know, all that security stuff. I mean, and security, it's not the sexy part of Microsoft, but it's one of those things that you sort of need it. Like driving a car is great, but if there are no stoplights and stop signs, it's going to be havoc. Not too different than, the wild, wild west if you don't have those guardrails up in a governance plan. Speaking of governance, Fabric has nothing to do with governance except the new Fabric that's now generally available, formerly known as Office UI Fabric, now is just called Microsoft Fabric. A great transition. And Galen, I'm not sure if you want to comment at all.
Yeah, I think that the big thing at Ignite was that it is generally available. Yay! All right. And for those of you that are looking to use Fabric, and you have data coming in from a number of different locations, repositories, I think the other big announcement was mirroring, where you can take data from one location, one database, mirror that into Fabric, and so that you can begin using it straight away. So some pretty cool things. I think the biggest is that it's now generally available.
Yeah. When I was at Ignite and I was in the session about Viva, and I expected, because again, I'm a collaboration guy, I expected just packed room. Jeff Tepper was speaking, and the whole team was there. And I personally thought it was an amazing session. But I think that Ignite, for those of you that have got that FOMO, oh, I wish I went to Ignite, I think it was more Azure focused rather than M365 and Viva. Although I definitely got a lot out of the session that I went on. So they had put up this slide, Ignite, so what was it about? AI, and then a little bit of Viva. But I got to tell you, the announcements, some big things that I sort of found: Engage, which used to be Yammer. I think, I know it's a weird sort of paradigm shift of some sort, but companies now are using Engage more than Yammer. I don't know why. Maybe the focus on the employee. And then Amplify, also more prevalent, and they talked a lot about that at Ignite as well. Publishing from Amplify to Engage, and I put in there, finally. We've been waiting for this, and it's here. Yeah, I know, thank you. The cross-integration of Viva workloads. I'm going to show you the new updated Viva slide in a minute. The connected knowledge within Viva Answers. Finding the expert in organizations. It's always been there, but people could never find it. Hopefully now with Answers, it helps in that. I mentioned earlier, Copilot is everywhere. It's in Engage, it's in Learning, Insight Goals, and it's coming into Insights, which is near and dear to a lot of organizations' sort of plan, future roadmap, if you will. So here's what I call the Microsoft Viva Money slide, taken right off the Microsoft Tech Blog website. So I like how everything is organized. I'm a big pillar guy. So driving that mission alignment, goals, engage, and amplify. That high-performing workforce, enabling those frontline workers. For those of you that have frontline workers, Viva Connections is a super inexpensive way to distribute your intranet announcements, amplify, all in one place. And then measure everything. So with the advent, and now Glint is, I've been talking a lot about Glint to clients and as well as Pulse. And at the end of the day, to me, it used to be Insights, but now with Pulse and Glint, it actually is a little bit more. And then if you look at the bottom, all underneath, you've got Copilot, and then depending upon where you are in your journey, having obviously privacy and security, all the different integrations, and then platform, the different platforms that I would be in. My eye chart, another money slide, just more, this is more of the roadmap that I also clipped from the tech blog on the different pillars. And I'm not going to get into each one of these, but I will tell you, and we talked about this while we were prepping for this webinar, Viva's been out for, I would say, about 2 years or so, and it hasn't been until literally, I would say, the second half of this year that more and more companies are coming to me and say, hey, Jeff, tell us the difference between Amplify and Connections and Engage, and what do we need? And we have an intranet, but where does it fit in? So sort of strategizing, what do I need to know? What to use when? And what's the best way to really engage and involve and empower your employees, whether you're a frontline employee or whether you're an office worker?
I agree, Jeff. I've had a couple of conversations where I've got clients who leverage other podcasting tools or corporate newsletter tools, and now they're starting to say, hey, I hear that Microsoft has these capabilities, and I already have a license for them, right? Like, how do they work? And we're doing a lot of conversations and whiteboarding around Viva and how it can replace some of these tools that are being licensed on top of the Microsoft license that they already own.
Good point. Good point. Exactly. We do live in a day and age where we like the shiny new thing. It's like, hey, let's see what you've got first, and then figure out what do we need to buy. My claim to fame is configure instead of customize. It's so easy to customize. It's much more difficult to configure, but at the end of the day, we're saving the client money by configuring instead of customizing. Power Platform. Of course, I run the Power Platform practice at Witham, so it's a little bit near and dear to my heart. I would say the biggest announcement, I put it right on top, is the Power Automate Designer and Copilot capabilities. It's already out. I've already been playing with it, and I am here to tell you, especially when it comes to the Center of Excellence, it's a mini game changer in the Power world for any Power users that are out there. And I like the rebranding of Power Virtual Agent to Copilot Studio. Tons of capabilities. Building your own Copilot for those citizen developers that are on this webinar today. All it's going to do is add more tools in your toolbox when you're helping your organization.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say is, as well as like with the new designer, yeah, it's cool. It's got some different changes to it. But the thing that's I think exciting for a lot of organizations is, as you said, is the Copilot integration. Power Automate, Power Apps, what have you, they're really cool, powerful tools. But in the back end, it still requires a lot of knowledge. It requires some formulas. It requires knowledge about how to set things up. And so by integrating it with Copilot, I can ask Copilot, say, hey, this is what I want. Now you go make the appropriate updates. I don't have to figure out, okay, now what was that formula again? Oh wait, okay, I gotta go do this. It just simplifies that process. That it brings the power of the Power Platform to more and more people. It's enabling them to be able to accomplish things without having to say, okay, well, here's what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. So let me go get my technical buddy to go do it for me. Copilot is your technical buddy.
Yep, that's exactly it. Everywhere we go with Copilot. Now we're going to attempt to show you a video. So Krista, you might have to take it back yourself.
You got it.
This is all about one of my another favorite component. Let's just say I'm a freaking Microsoft fanboy. I love SharePoint. And now they rebranded SharePoint and Syntex to SharePoint Premium. And this video is going to demonstrate that in just a second.
Yes, it's coming here. Just a moment. Looks like it's just taking a second here.
That's totally okay. Yeah, so SharePoint Syntex is now SharePoint Premium, and there's so many other goodies within the SharePoint Premium stack, if you will. I would say
and some of those are available today.
Yeah, the content experiences, the branded document portal. It's a little thing. Oh, there we go. It's a little thing, but it's actually a big thing when it comes to organizations. And it's one of those sort of little nuances that you're like, how come it wasn't always like that? And I can't answer that. You have to talk to the Microsoft SharePoint team. Content AI, formerly Syntex, the e-signatures. And on with the video. And if this doesn't work, you could all check it out.
In the era of AI, the secret to getting ahead with your business is something you already have: content. Now, with SharePoint Premium, you can unleash the full potential of your AI-powered Microsoft 365 Copilot experiences. Boost productivity, keep content fresh, enable discovery, and support file collaboration. Optimize content value using AI-driven automation. And use powerful tools to manage the content lifecycle and control access. SharePoint Premium, where AI meets content management.
Call me a fanboy, call me whatever you want, but I get excited when I see that video.
I do too.
Screen again, and let's get rid of us. There we go. That wasn't too painful.
Good.
SharePoint Premium. Again, if you were at Ignite, there's Jeff, a little clip of Jeff. If you were there with me when I was up on stage, I was singing SharePoint Premium. And like I said a few minutes ago, the different types of content experiences are much more robust. At the end of the day, why are we doing this? We want to make the employees' experience an easy one. Our jobs are hard enough. Let's make our lives at work easier. And just some of the branded document portal, like I mentioned, it just makes it easier. And then obviously Syntex is rebranded, thank goodness. And then the e-signature component as well. Advanced governance as well. So again, governance, key to any sort of successful rollout of M365, SharePoint, and then Syntax or now Content AI.
Yeah, and for those of you that are wondering, well, what is advanced governance? That is, your lease on sites. That is, understanding external sharing. That's backup, right, and archive. There are a lot of capabilities baked in there. So yeah, I understand why you were singing SharePoint Premium, Jeff.
Indeed. Copilot experience across the entire cloud.
Copilot, like we said before, Copilot is going to be one of those things that is going to be a game changer for everybody, whether you're technical, whether you're not. It's going to be able to take and free up a lot of your time that you've had to go try and track things down for yourself before as well. So as a developer at heart, I do love the ability to build your own Copilot, so I can integrate and have it do what I need it to do. I was talking about, as we mentioned before, there's a lot of scenarios where, yeah, we can implement things, we can customize things, but should we? So that's just one of the things about knowing the difference between, okay, what's available to you, and then from there you can go on and say, hey, let's now integrate and improve and enhance what's there. And that's one of the keys, I think, with building your own Copilot, is you can integrate and throw in through different plugins and connectors. You can add in the ability to say, hey, that's why it's kind of listed. Okay, we've got it, adopt, extend, add data into it, add what you need to, and then you can build on beyond that. That's okay. Hey, we got the full, as Microsoft even says, they have their no code, low code, pro code scenarios that they talk about with Power Platform. Same type of setup going on here. One of the things that I know a lot of us have talked about, the biggest hang up for most organizations getting Copilot right now is the fact that for performance metrics, Microsoft wants to make sure, hey, this is kind of one of the things, they're rolling it out, but they also want to make sure they're doing it properly and that it does what it's supposed to. So it'll do its calculations. It'll think for you. So as it stands right now, it's $30 per user per month, but it does require a minimum of 300 licenses to be able to take advantage of it. Yeah, it's one of those, I understand. I wish it wasn't that way, because like small organizations like mine, I'd love to be able to say, hey, let's take this in and we'll add it in there. But my organization's not going to give Microsoft a lot of metrics on, hey, how is it performing? Are we getting some weird behaviors from the AI that we're not seeing? I think having that measures of scale really helps. But I'm hoping, really hoping, that sometime next year or maybe a little after, that 300 minimum license restriction will go away, and then it'll become one of those things that's available to anybody, any organization that wants to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I know we're not on our predictions yet, but I predict that that Copilot will be more, again, I would say Q4 of next year. The pricing probably comes down, and the 300 minimum is gone. I mean, I would say the pricing, maybe not for, if it's just like a 10-person firm, that the pricing will be higher than the $30, but it'll be a sliding scale the way the licensing usually works. Obviously, Viva having the built-in Copilot, again, that goes back to the licensing for the Copilot with that 300 person minimum. We talked about planning for AI. It's the exact same type of thing, planning for Copilot. That first bullet point that I put over there, I can't stress it enough. Be careful of that over permissioning or over sharing. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm telling you, you heard it, it's going to happen. So make sure you've got those guardrails up and have a solid governance plan and plan ahead. Obviously, Copilot's going to be surfacing all the content the user has access to. Again, reminder. And then, that sensitive content is labeled and compartmentalized. Also, Galen mentioned it earlier, when you're planning for AI/Copilot, these are just a couple of things that you need to be aware of. And I'm sure if our audience is a smart audience, and I could tell looking at some of the names that are on the list today, you're aware of this. Copilot and Whiteboard.
Yeah, it's one of those, I haven't really had a chance to play with this too much, as most of us haven't yet, because it's just due to restrictions. But I think a lot of what we're talking about, whiteboard in meetings, being able to work through the functionality, being able to say, hey, what are we lacking here? Go lay this out for me, even say, okay, hey, we've got these information. I don't know how to do that, or can do that quickly inside whiteboard. Okay, I can go in and set up a bunch of boxes, but being able to have Copilot do it for me, I think it's going to be a lot of benefit there.
Yeah, I think also, Ryan, we use Whiteboard for our Scrum meetings, our sprint retrospectives, objectives like that. So it's really interesting to think about how Copilot can evaluate what's on the board, summarize that for me, so that way I don't have to go back through and take notes. So that, I'm looking forward to that. Again, it's these accelerators, these time savers, right? And it's being plugged in everywhere, as Jeff has said.
Microsoft Planner Premium, as promised, one more premium within the M365 stack.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like, when we're talking about like between Planner, Project, To Do, Tasks, all this stuff, we've had a lot of different functionality to manage tasks inside the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So I think Microsoft's definitely making the strides to be able to consolidate everything into one. The cool thing is like, having done some implementations of Microsoft Project, both in online and on-prem, the ability to be able to have that similar functionality, which is what the premium offering here is. So the Microsoft Planner Premium, that's going to allow you to be able to include some of the more advanced functionalities that full project had that weren't available to Planner previously. So this is going to be one of those that's going to make it a lot better for organizations to have the options. And since it's all going to be combined, that'll simplify those. Okay, what do I use when? It's like, okay, well, it's going to be one.
Yep. And just trying to advance the slide again. Sometimes it gets a little bit wonky. Teams. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Teams.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that we kind of put in there. The Teams has received a lot of focus from Microsoft in a lot of different ways. Some of the cool things that came out, like even this year, town halls. If anybody in the audience has used, this is going to be the replacement of live events. So live events is in the process of being deprecated and will be fully done next year, while they're adding in those functionalities into town halls. But that allows you to be able to say, hey, we're going to do a more advanced setup, get more features in there, and a lot of the same functionality that the live events had, but we also get all the new stuff with green rooms, and we get all the functionality that we've been wanting there. It's all coming in, and it's coming into town halls, which really helps simplify that process. Also with that, speaking of events, Microsoft Mesh, it's one of those cool things that Galen and I, we've been talking about doing different things with virtual reality for a long time. But now that Mesh has been released, I think the official term here is in a public preview, but not quite full GA yet, but it's something that we can all play with now. But the ability to be able to go in, whether you're in a device with a full VR headset, or you're in a Teams meeting and joining from your laptop, everybody can experience the Mesh environment where they can go in, they can take advantage of being able to move around. Like if you think about in most normal situations, real world where you have a meeting, the ability to be able to get up and move someplace else and have people be able to have secondary side conversations without impacting everybody else at the table. It's like, okay, this is the closest thing we're going to get to being back to real world without really being in person. So the ability to be able to implement those live meetings type scenarios in Mesh, and you also have your hand gestures. I like most people, I'm one of those people that talks with my hands a lot. So the ability to be able to be in world and be able to say, okay, yeah, Yeah, that's definitely right, and I recognize the way he speaks. So there's just a lot of things that kind of make it more more involved and more natural. Along those lines, your avatar that you set up will be the same avatar in Microsoft Teams. Will be the same avatar you have in Mesh, and then the new Teams to be able to make it a whole lot faster. And yet again, we have Teams Premium. This is one of those things that for a lot of organizations, this gets you a lot of functionality that maybe not everyone in your organization needs, or not every organization needs, but it allows you to be able to customize and brand a lot of things and control what's going on. You've got the ability to be able to add in your branding, your color schemes, your logos, adding in different content types. Also, if you're talking town halls, if you want to be able to have large town halls, you need Teams Premium. That's how you can get it up to 20,000 people. Also, you can have up to 15 town halls going on at once. I'm sorry, that's a large organization, or that's a very big event if you need that many. And Galen and I and Jeff, a couple of years ago, we participated in an event that we put on that allowed us to be able, we had live events running, and the biggest we hit, I think was it 16 at once, Galen? Something along those lines. So early COVID timeframes, we put live events to the test, and I think claim to fame here is I think we broke it enough for the Microsoft to fix it and made some improvements. So there's been some benefits of those sort of things and in functionality going forward.
I think with Teams Premium, I've been asked a lot about like, well, what's the difference between Teams Premium and Copilot? Because there's a meeting recap in Teams Premium. I just want to say that you get that meeting recap with Teams Premium, not with Copilot. So Copilot can tell you what happened in the meeting, and it can kind of do that overview. Meeting recap in Teams Premium, which is something that I use quite often, gives you a very verbose meeting notes with scheduled tasks and a lot of capability there. So if you're looking for some distinction, it's right in that space, and I would highly advise checking out Teams Premium for that capability. It's a good time saver.
So some key takeaways and some predictions for the coming year. You know, I already mentioned I predict that the licensing model on Copilot is going to change at least once this year, if not twice. That's for starters. Obviously, we talked about AI everywhere. I think that in smaller organizations, and those organizations that when Microsoft first announced that, hey, we're gonna be getting rid of all those fancy servers in your office, and you're gonna have to move to the cloud, and every sudden, oh, we're never gonna go to the cloud. I think it's different now because everyone is interested in AI. They're interested in Copilot and the different capabilities, but they're just not sure. So I think that the Copilot, if I had to make another prediction, the Copilot / AI in, we'll say the global Fortune 5,000, I think it's going to be slower than we would think. Not only because of the financial obligation, but because of all the planning that has to go into it ahead of time that we talked about.
Yeah, I think to reemphasize that as well, I think the big things that we're going to see is AI, and this is beyond just even in the Microsoft stack. AI is going to be prolific. It's going to be more and more involved in everything we do. There's this little things that you wouldn't even think about. I've got my webcam here has got AI built in to be able to keep track of and make sure as I'm moving around, it'll follow me. If it'll even has as we're getting ready for this webinar, looking through some of the settings, they have AI options built into the camera to be able to adjust the image. So that way I can say, hey, I want to make myself look slimmer. I want to make myself look bigger. I want to be able to change up my enhancements, like built-in stuff, all built into the camera. Nothing extra, no extra service required. It just is all there. So I think a lot of what we're going to see is AI is going to be more and more prolific in what we do in every day. And especially in the Microsoft stack, when we're talking Copilot and all the different options we've got, the more and more we get into things, I think more and more AI is going to show up to be able to help us to be more productive. As Galen mentioned, just the little time savers. It's just the little things. Jeff had mentioned early days when Microsoft was threatening to take away our servers. I was doing presentations telling people, yeah, don't be afraid of it. Those sort of things, yes, it'll take away a part of your job, but that frees you up to be able to do other things. And I think Copilot and AI in general is one of those things. We're in a similar paradigm shift where they're going to be able to enable us to be able to take advantage of and free up time to do other things. Okay, these little menial tasks. Okay, give me a summary of this meeting. Are there any key points that I may have missed? Instead of me having to sit through there and watch an entire meeting, take the notes, AI and Copilot's going to be able to come in and say, hey, okay, here you are. Here's the key takeaways. And like, okay, yep, I got that. Yep, I got that one. Oh, I missed that one. Let's go back and I can go back and check that specific sections. Okay, here's where it was talked about. Got it. Okay. So it's just a lot of things as we're going forward. But yeah, AI is going to be a huge part of business and even our personal lives.
Galen, anything on your end?
Yeah, I think I'll summarize with some 2024 predictions. I think there's really going to be kind of two things that are going to be very prevalent. One is going to be around security and compliance. I think companies have and Microsoft has made a lot of inroads and improvements to Teams that enable remote working. I think we're beginning to see a trend where we're returning to the office. So I think this pendulum is kind of swinging back the other way. And I think AI is really going to help us do a lot of the things that took, as Ryan said, just little chunks of time, right? So if AI can help me understand my data better so that I can protect it correctly and I can respond to menial tasks and gain clear insights quickly on more important tasks that I'm a team member in, whether it's a security incident or what have you, that's going to transform the way I work. And in using AI in Teams and Microsoft Mesh and these immersive experiences, I'm going to have a better and more enhanced working relationship with my teammates. So I think we work faster, smarter, we're kind of freed up to use our minds for more creative thought, as well as transition to a new place with regards to where we work and how we engage with our teams. I think it's exciting because there's a lot on the horizon in the near term that we've never experienced before that should improve our experience and enhance the productivity associated with each of our teams.
Wow, that was this hour went by as fast as I've ever experienced in a webinar. I wasn't sure if we'd be able to fill the hour, but obviously we're right at time. And Chris, I wasn't sure if there are any other questions or if we need to end right at the top of the hour. Your call.
Yeah, we actually do have a couple more questions that came in. So if you guys have another few minutes. First thing I have here is if there's one feature or pillar of M365 that would be the biggest impact on have the biggest impact on your organization, what do you think that would be? What should people look for? What is the greatest impact that they can make?
I think that if you're not kicking the tires on Viva, at least one or two of the components of it, you're missing the boat. There are so many great features that could really be game changers for an organization. So Viva is going to be my answer there.
That's a good one.
Mike, can I hear
also,
if I were to pick a second one, if I pick a second one,
if I could only get we can get AI built into my microphone here to say, okay, wait a minute, he's really talking and not just muting and just talking in the background. Anyway, I was gonna say, like, AI is gonna be huge if we're not experimenting and digging into the different areas. Then we're gonna miss that boat, and then we're gonna be having to play catch up to be able to say, okay, hey, how can we enhance and make things better?
And I'll just add that I think that the biggest place that people need to focus is really on their value impact to their organization and their communities. And personally for me, I think where the rubber meets the road is with business process optimization and optimization and doing that intelligently, with Crow Canyon, with Copilots. Definitely invest some time. It's super easy now to just begin, as Ryan was saying, with a prompt, and then begin automating and improving your business process. That has, very tangible value that you can realize in short order. So I think that's really the largest space that you'll want to invest some time in. And then, depending on what your role is, there's a lot going on around SharePoint Premium. There's a lot out in Azure, security, information protection, and compliance. So it all begins, though, with that business process and providing value there.
Spot on. Yeah, one of the things we're seeing too, it ties into another question here, is what do you find is the greatest opportunity to automate in 2024? And I know for us, we're seeing a lot of strong opportunities with help desk solutions, really automating more of the simple requests, empowering users to self-serve, purchasing, HR requests, all of these things. But what do you guys see?
Ooh, yeah, it's a lot of the automation. I see just empowering more companies and users to be able to automate their own processes. And like we said, Copilot, even in Power Automate, doesn't necessarily require the full Copilot, so you don't have to pay for that one. You get that one included. But that's going to help be able to automate as well, be able to expose and open that functionality to a broader set of people.
Good one. And last question here is thoughts on MS Loop.
The one topic we didn't speak of that was pretty big, right? That could go into a 2024 prediction. Really, is how does Loop impact everything you do? I think we'll definitely see it in. We're going to see it in Teams, right? Throughout 2024, I think, I was talking about meeting recap with Teams Premium. We're going to see Loop workspaces there that contain all of the items in the meeting recap. So Loop is huge, and it's for those of you that like to understand how things work, I strongly recommend going out to the tech community and doing some research on how Loop works. It's quite fascinating. The framework behind it is super cool, and it is a way of working that really tears down a lot of silos, right? And enables you to collaborate with others in your org. And it's going to be super cool when you're collaborating via Loop with external users as well.
I use Loop every single day. I don't even realize I'm using Loop, but Loop is embedded everywhere. So it's not one of those things that you really need to learn, except learn the user interface on it. So yeah, and business process automation, I think I might have mentioned at the top of the webinar, it seems to be a very hot topic among, gosh, everyone from VP business applications to I'm dealing with a lot of manufacturers. The manufacturers are wanting better processes and they want them automated. So it's not going away. It's super hot, and you should be aware of it. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. I know we lost a bunch of people in the past couple of minutes, but scan this. You could get a hold of me, Galen, Ryan. We're the easiest guys to get a hold of. I really appreciate Krista and the entire team at Crow Canyon for hosting us today. I thought this was like a fire hose, yet refreshing, and look forward to staying in touch with everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye all. Happy holidays.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.